Right, that's better. Good morning, all. Okay, thanks indeed. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, well, I clicked the wrong button. There we go. Morning. We're all back online now. Good morning, BRLE, Morph, Sam Foot, Westies in the house, Jave, Rigor, Java, Arimor, SFMC, Java Trader, Dog Trading, Plexian is in the room. Non-disclosure is in the room as well. Good to see you all here today. Good morning, NFX. Good morning, Moktum. Good morning, Andy133. Here we go again. Back to the desk. A bit of a relaxed day yesterday in the markets. UK, of course, were off, and US were off as well. And normally, when that happens, you get the eurozone taking advantage and looking for any old excuse to take a holiday. So they tend to be quite relaxed as well. And good morning from down under, Plexian. We've got lots of traders in the room from down under as well. Swep Fanny, Morphs, good to see you in the room. Zen Gardens. Yeah, I've been using it for about 13 years, the momentum meter. Remember, Zen Gardens said, is anyone using the propulsion meter? Just on that note, and I'm pleased you mentioned that, Zen. The propulsion meter is, it doesn't predict the future, but it tells you what's going on at this moment in time. And if you're following trends, it's, as far as I can see, it's the only. I don't know how people trade without it, quite honestly. How you could be looking, for an edge in the market without seeing something like that. Why would you want to be following a trend in two currency pairs that are moving with each other? You want to be following a trend with currency pairs that are diverging away from each other. And if you want to trend, counter trend, why would you not want to be looking at currency pairs that are reversing that position as well? So I think it's an essential part, but you've got to take it for what it is. It doesn't predict the future. There's no such thing as a holy grail, and we know if there was such thing as a holy grail, this would be it for me. But there's not. So don't all start to put me out there saying he's telling a holy grail story. I'm not. But this is as close as it gets. Right. Good morning, Nigel C. as well. Good to see you in the room. Right. So this morning, there's a few opportunities that have risen in the naked trading setup, naked trading strategy. None of them are we are taking. They are all basically they're basically all pin bars that are with the trend. In Aussie Swiss, Aussie Yen, pretty much all with the trend. So remember, the naked strategy is an end of day reversal strategy. Sometimes you get days and days and days without a trade setup. Some days you get multiple setups. We've actually got 5 running at the moment from trade signals from last week and a few weeks gone, and so we've still got some 5 open trades in the naked setups. For those of you that are following that, we'll have a quick review of those in a moment. But just while I was looking at these today, I was because it makes you sort of when you start looking at the higher time frame charts, on your top down analysis approach, but I think everyone should do it anyway. I think everyone should start off by looking at what's going on the daily chart, and then you can scroll down. So I looked at the Aussie Swiss on the daily. Sure enough, the Aussie Swiss on the daily came in with this little pin bar rejection with the predominant trend. So this has potential for trend continuation. Then you drill down to the lower time frames, and then enough you see this nice little pullback into I think that is bang on a 50% pullback zone. It's also got the trend continuation. It's also got the bearish price action there. So what I've done here, basically, I've taken this as the double top, taken this low, and this is on the 4-hour chart. Remember, this is not a naked setup, but it made me look at it because of the naked setup opportunity. So we pull back in here to the 50% zone, and you put in this bearish engulfer at that 50% zone, previous structure as well. That is a high probability reversal for that, I think, for trend continuation. So not a naked, but trend continuation. Stops above there, continuation. Excuse me, down to the 1618 extension, pulls you down into 83.40. That actually is not a bad little trade for trend continuation. Aussie Swiss to the downside. and we do quite like that trade to the downside. Sorry, excuse me, taking that off. So I might be taking that trade out. I'll drop the trade signal in straight afterwards if we do. But this rejection candle up here, this rejection pattern up here, in the direction of the trend. I know one of my private students will be taking this trade, certainly. If he's trading the markets today, he should be. Yeah, so that's the Aussie Swiss. Keep an eye on that one. We are also seeing one in the Aussie yen. That was another one that I was looking at, the Aussie yen. Okay, so this is the Aussie yen. So downward trend still intact. We've got a couple of pin bars in there. That's basically why it's flagged. Not a naked setup by any stretch of the imagination. It's with the trend putting down lower time frame. Here we go again. Bit of a pullback. Again, this is another. I can see this is another 50% pullback from that range. So this is where I'll be taking that from. You know, there to there. This is a 50% pullback. Another bearish engulfer coming in there. Aussie Swiss trend continuation to the downside, broken through now. Those moving averages have been converging on each other, which basically is consolidating from this. You know, so you've had this really solid downtrend playground for trend followers. This is a playground with the moving averages all fanned out, pointing down in a 45-degree angle. Consolidation. Maybe this wants to go off again with a continuation to the downside. So although those two are not naked setups, it made me look deeper into them, and we could see trend continuation in there as well. New Zealand Swiss. What's going on with the New Zealand Swiss? To be honest, I don't think I looked at that last night. Don't remember looking at that. New Zealand Swiss. Well, I mean, there you go again. I mean, you've got this bearish engulfer. You've got this. This is the 4-hour chart now. This bearish engulfer. Hang on, the daily. Yeah, so nothing on the daily. It was just that bearish pin bar. But then on the 4-hour chart, you see this pullback. Hang on a sec. You see this pullback. Hang on, this is MT4 is just refreshing. This is hung. My MT4 is hanging. Oh dear, what's going on? Same setup, yeah. Okay. Oh, here we go. Right, it's all hanging for some reason. You know, I've got 3 MT4s open at the moment. That's not why. So yeah, same type of pullback, 50%. I mean, this is a classic again. You know, another one. Some good setups coming up on propulsion at the moment. Some nice pullbacks. 50% bearish price action. Previous support. Trend your friend. You know, that ticks a few boxes to the downside. We're going to take one of those trades straight after the stream. Inverted head and shoulders as well on the New Zealand Swiss. Yeah, you got the inflation outlook report from New Zealand tonight. Reverse head and shoulders. Little bit of a head and shoulders there. I'm not a head and shoulders pattern trader, to be honest, but yeah, I see that there. That would put a reversal back up to them, but we'll see. Right, naked setups. Excuse me. Excuse me. Right, so the naked setups. So no new trades today on the naked. We do have a few out there at the moment. We've just scanned through those. Because I want to scan through those quickly. We are looking at. So here we go. This is the New Zealand CAD. Okay, so we're in this trade still. We are up 90 pips on this trade. We are. You know, this is going to be a nice one because of the risk-reward ratio. You know, we only had a 50 pip stop. We're up 2-1 already on this trade. Not getting into TP1. I mean, the rules of the strategy say you look to go to the next support or resistance. Quite honestly, there's nothing all the way up to TP1. I mean, that's why it's giving you such a great risk-reward trade on here. We are now 50 pips or so away. It will be a crying shame to to take a loss on this trade, but if it happens, it happens. Believe me, it would disappoint me more than anyone if we do take a loss on this trade. But I can't change the rules just because I feel like it, because then I start changing the rules. If I start breaking my my mental discipline on one trade, two trades, then it all starts snowballing. I end up start doing it all. I stick to my rules on this strategy. I set and forget. I let it do what it's going to do. If we hit TP1, then I'm at break even for a nice 3-to-1 risk reward ratio on this one. So New Zealand CAD's looking nice. We bought that on the back of this bullish pin bar. So that one's looking okay. That was a couple of days, 4 days ago, at the end of last week. The Swiss CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss, we are still in this trade. We are at we're short from up here at 75.75. So this trade's up 120 pips as well, and we are on our way to TP2. We've already cut out of TP1 at TP1 and moved up to break even. So that one's doing quite nicely. Quite like yesterday's candle. This helps my calls. We've had a few confirmations on the way down here, and this is now another little confirmation. And again today, another bearish pin coming in today. If we take out these lows down here today at 74.20, then I'll be rubbing my hands, thinking that we will be on our way to TP2. We will see. I like the attitude, Chris. I like the attitude, Andrew, says Chris. Well, I have to do it because if I start meddling with my trades, then I continue down that rabbit hole, and I've just messed about with that in 2005, 2006 on the screens, and I didn't get anywhere. So I don't do that anymore. Right, so CAD Swiss, we are heading that way to TP2. What was the other one? The other one is Pound CAD. That's not doing anything, is it? Pound CAD. I don't like. I'm in this trade. Bought this one from these pin bar from pin bar here. I mean, it was a really nice technical setup. I didn't like the fundamentals behind it. Giraffe Trader says, how do we get the signal from the naked trading? Okay, so if you download the tool from the naked trading tutorials in the lab there, the tools there, you can plug it on. But if you watch my streams every morning, we talk about them. But also if you follow me, then when I put out the trade signals for these naked setups, you get an email to your email. So some people ask, how do I get the signals? If you follow someone, you get the signals sent to your email address. So this one, I'm in the trade. Technically, it was a great little setup, but I didn't like it fundamentally. I just don't feel comfortable at the moment buying the British pound. I think I said it. I think I actually wrote it in the commentary when I put the signal out that this is just not something I felt comfortable doing. But the signal was there. It was a good technical signal on the naked strategy, so we took the trade. And it's break even at the moment. We're not going anywhere. But if it makes money, I will be happy with that. Be delighted with it if it makes money. It's the same. You've heard it before. I didn't coin the phrase, but trade what you see, not what you think. Because who am I to know what's going on in the $5 trillion a day currency market? No idea what other people are up to. What fundier idea? Not sure what you're talking about there. But yeah, fundamentally, I think the pound is going to, over the next few days, weeks, with the UK election, uncertainty there. We'll talk about that when we get onto the Forex scan in a minute. But pound CAD, we're in that one at the moment. So that's 3. What else are we in? We're also in the CAD, the Swiss yen. So the Swiss yen, we bought this one. We hit TP1 at 109.45. It's come back. We got very close to TP2, missed TP2 by 30 pips. Moving back now down to break even on the second half. We've taken profits on the first half, so that's okay. We're in that nicely, and that's doing all right. We'll see how that goes. yeah, we'll see how that one pans out. And the other one, of course, was the New Zealand against the US dollar, which we did, I think, on Friday or Thursday. And that one at the moment is also up. This one is up 100. This is up, he says confidently, not up 100, is it? We are up. That's done nothing, is it? That's been really, really dead. We're up 20 pips, but not doing anything really. Long way to go to TP and long way to go to stop loss, but there's the New Zealand dollar for you. But we do have data out tonight in New Zealand. Right, quick look at what's going on in the Forex market. So basically, the dollar is edging up. Here's the index today. Okay, so the index, as you know, that's not today, that's the weekly chart. So this is so we're marginally up. I mean, from yesterday in the dull day, we're up sort of 20 pips or so on the index, which for those of you that don't know is a basket of currencies against the US dollar, 6 major currencies against the US dollar. And the main component of the dollar index is the euro, which accounts for about 2/3 of the index. So this is pushing up. The euro is a little bit weak. Italian problems and political issues there, and if you watch the data out of the eurozone, in fact, someone was talking this morning. I saw one of the ECB members talking this morning about. I saw one of the ECB. Was it Cohen? One of the ECB members was talking this morning about this level of low interest rates is exactly what's needed at the moment, and no time to change it. Can't think who it was now. Business confidence lower. So the eurozone is the eurozone, or the euro currency. I would say, there's nothing really there to drive the euro high on its own merit. What drives the euro higher in the dollar, and that's not really what's happening at the moment. I don't think there's any fundamental reason why why you want to get yourself long the euro. Here's the euro at the moment. It's basically this blue line in here, which is basically here. It's just basically stuck in the middle. Bit of Steelers wheel there. Stuck in the middle of the range, and not doing very much. The biggest players, of course, today are the Japanese yen, Canadian, and the pound are on the way back down. Euro's been sideways for a while. Yeah, it has, yeah, John, absolutely. So not massive opportunities there, I don't think. Ralph says, hi, can I what is the average RW risk PL ratio? It gives me an edge. It gives me a positive edge. Yeah, P&L. What's the win-loss ratio? Win-loss ratio. I think win-loss ratio is about 60-70% or something like this. Trend continuation. But remember, when you're taking 60% win-loss ratio, then you don't need to be. You don't even need a 50% win-loss ratio. Obviously, you're taking bigger profits on the gainers. But honestly, when you ask the win-loss ratio, my trading is different than everyone else's trading, and everyone else is different than everyone else's trading. This is not an EA. You just plug it in and play it. You have to use some, of your own your own sort of experience in the screens, where to draw your lines, where to whatever. So yours may be different than mine, but what I'll say is if you're adopting any of what I do, then don't rely on my win-loss ratio. It's irrelevant. Yeah, my win-loss ratio is irrelevant. You should have your own win-loss ratio. Checklist. I did a video a couple of weeks ago on the checklist. I don't know if you saw me landing that 74777 at Dallas International Airport, Max. all about checklist. Good video. Use your own initiative, yeah. Right. So there you are. So let's have a look then at these. Euro dollar, flat, middle of the range. Okay, so this is really the range we've been in for a while. So you've basically at it at the moment, aren't we? Look, this is the 4-hour chart. Highs there, the low back down there. We are there at the moment. Right bang smack in the middle of it. Yeah, it's difficult to call. My bias is for it to trade down. It's not an easy. There's nothing really there that's got. There's nothing really in there that's standing out to me that this is a screaming sell. For me, I would be a bias to the sell side. Although, with my trend continuation with the 4-hour anchor chart and 1-hour entry chart, I need to be the right side of moving averages that are trending. At the moment, the right side. There's no right side of the moving averages here. We're bang smack in the middle of the jaws, and there's no real 4-hour trend going in. So there's nothing there for me at the moment. I mean, our call for the week on our trade report was that this is going to, and it remains, the bias is to the downside. I think that is, and I think that's, the main bias, but it's difficult to see at the moment. Maybe let's have a look here. Maybe we looked at that. The CAD yen. Where's the CAD yen down here? This is the biggest mover at the moment today. Okay, coming into this big 4-hour candle there. Looks weak. This will challenge 81. I think this is going to challenge the 81 level. But look at that. Big level here, but it's going to challenge it, yeah. So what I would do here, we're breaking out. What is down here? What's down here? Do we have lots of buyers in here? We have lots of, well, I don't know what's down there is the answer. And I'm not going to spend my money finding out what's down there. I think the bias is lower. I think, coming into this, you've got strength of the yen, you've got the weakness of the CAD. I personally would be letting you spend your money on that. Yeah. You tell me what's down there. And when it breaks through, and it comes back up, I want to see the level of the retracement. Does it shoot back up, or are we going to stall back here? That to me would be, if it doesn't stall back, doesn't break through with any real force, then that's where I would sell it. Okay, so let it break through, let it come back to retest, and then go. Wait for some maybe price action confirmation. Price action confirmation at that level. You could have a bearish engulf or something like that at that level when it comes back through the test. I don't want to risk my money down here at the moment. It's such a big level. We don't know what's below it. Can I look at the 100 pips left for CAD yen on the weekly? Yeah, right. I think it's the same picture, isn't it? Almost more obvious on the weekly chart. If I pulled the microphone out, no. The desk. One moment. Right. Okay. I've pulled the mic out. Right. Well, I know I just pulled it out, Chris, accidentally. Yep. That is better now. Yeah. Okay. Good. Right. Rightio. So CAD yen. Let the market show what it's got. Let them use their money. Wait to see the breakout. I mean, often when you see that big level like that, when you see that big level on the weekly and the daily, a breakthrough and then a reback to test is the time to enter that trade. For me, so that's what I'll be looking at there. Right, just a quick look at the pound. So pound is continuing to be so the fundamentals driving the pound are clearly a Brexit. The difference between the Brexiteers and the softliners. You had Jeremy Hunt this morning basically taking a bit more of a softer approach, saying that it would be a political suicide to leave with no deal. I don't know where he's going to come in the election race, but the majority of the leaders, I think, or the runners and riders, are adamant that a Brexit deal is going to happen regardless of a hard Brexit. This is concerning the pound players, the bigger pound players, I think. So there does seem to be some positioning in short plays. I was reading something earlier about the bigger institutional positioning in short pound play. Although you still got the retail space still long pound, but the bigger money is short pound, I guess, to them, and the pound's struggling. The only reason why we'll get back up here is if there's a breakthrough in Brexit, and at the moment, you might see pullbacks along the way. You may see candidates take pole position, But for me, this is still, this is still a currency pair or currency that has got the bias to the downside. Nice bearish engulfer there at the 50% zone. I would be expecting that to pull back. Now, whether you buy it against the dollar, whether you sell it against the dollar, or whether you sell it against the Japanese yen, possibly selling a Japanese yen would be something more more advantageous. Let's have a look here. Pound yen. Yen is strong. Yeah, this I think is a better trade. Better trade. This is the same type of thing here. Look. Okay, so this is similar to what we were talking about a moment ago. When you see this, this 4-hour big support. I mean, it's not a weekly support, is it? When you see this, well, it is, I guess, a weekly. At a weekly level, yeah. This zone here. Yeah, I think you need to wait for the. We had a nice pullback here, bearish pin on the pullback with the trend, so you can have your stops. 120 pips stops, profit target, 250 pips with the trend, higher time frame, of course. But it does look a little bit weak. Look at that again. Nicely fanned out moving averages. COT, that's the one. Yep, that was the one. That's what I was reading, Ralph. Yeah, I think I read that on the IG site, on Daily FX. There's a significant short shifting of short positions. Yeah, I read that on Daily FX, actually. Yeah. Right. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Let's have a look here. I will review the signals later. Will you send out signals for those two? I am going to do exactly that SFMC. I think those are both nice little trades to take on board. It'll be following after this stream in a moment, which is one of the reasons why I want to jump off now. So take them if you wish. Remember, it's not all about following signals. I don't mind if people take the signals, but at the end of the day, it's got to fit in with what you do. I'm a trend continuation trader. These are trend continuation trades as opposed to the naked setups. But make sure that you risk only when you're comfortable with your own strategy. Right, folks, I'll clear the airwaves. Max wants to discuss something as well, so I'll leave it to you, Max, and we will see you later.